Assalamu alaikum everyone. Exhibition Cadet Sabir from my channel Aviation Cadet 9936. Tejas crash is one of the famous these days, and there are many expertise on that. Most of the channels, they're using one of the enhanced videos, one of the edited videos. We'll explain in a while, and giving their expertise on the basis of the videos, and comparing that with the original video, which is very wrong. You can't even compare what happened in Singapore in 2022 when another Indian Air Force pilot, he successfully did this negative G turn on Tejas and succeeded. Why can't we even compare those two? And these images, these videos which have come up, like HD videos, they have a problem because they're made, how are they made? We need to know that first. That any live footage from any of the cameras, okay, by the audience, that could be iPhone, that could be Android, that could be anything, that could be GoPro, doesn't matter at all. But from that distance, from wherever the video is being taken, you can't get a clear. Whenever you are going to zoom it in, it's going to be blurry. Because even with the 4K camera, you can't get the desired results. It's going to be shaky and stuff like that. So what they do is they use many editing tools, and they take burst pictures of the same shot, and the camera could be at 90 frames per second. Remember that the first cartoon Disney made, they were only a few 8 or 16 frames per second. But now we are on, and even then that seems like it's moving, right? But these cameras, the best ones for not professional use, but for the local, like people like commoners, it's like right about 90 frames per second FPS. I record my videos at 30 FPS because I don't do a lot of movements which need to be slow mo. So that's why it's 30 FPS to save place on my phone. And I use 1080 Mbps megapixels of the resolutions. Now, why this is important? These people, when they edit into high density videos, normal quality video, when they turn it into high density video, they lose a bit of information, key information on that one. So you probably would see very clear image, right? But the thing is, you lost a bit of data, and I will explain how. If you go to Facebook or anywhere, they have different pages that can turn your old pictures into the new pictures, like black and white pictures into color pictures. Now, it won't be exactly the same ditto copy of the previous one. It will surely, with the naked eye, would look like 99.9% same thing, but even then, it's not the same. So once I've done editing, for example, I use Google Gemini and their photo editor. I used it, and one of my course mates, he had an old picture when we went for guard mounting, and then his son, he also went for guard mounting. Guard mounting is an event where the Air Force pilots, they go and put flowers on the grave of the founder of Pakistan, Qaeda Muhammad Ali Jinnah, in Karachi. His monument is there. So that's nostalgia, right? Father was there at the same place like 25 years ago, and now the son is there. So, but back then the cameras, we had the Kodak 110 camera at that time, so the quality was not that good, and that was a picture. Anyway, he took the picture of the picture, and then his son took his, of course, original picture, and you could see the huge difference. Because in 25 years, the pictures also fade colors and stuff like that. So I wanted to enhance it. I did a bit. But I didn't notice the face of my course mate. I was giving Google Gemini, they can make it more shiny, make it more bright looking, make it more dynamic, keep the background blurry, blah, blah, blah. So every time I was doing a thing on on a specific like uniform, it was changing the shape of the face too. So once the final product came out, I couldn't recognize that that person is my course mate. So I got the perfect same colored and same dynamic picture of both. One didn't need any editing, but the other one did, the old one. And they came up with similar kind of shines and looks, but the face changed. And that's what happened to Charlie Kirk, Assassinator. People say that he doesn't look like. It was a very, third class quality camera from which took his picture. So FBI had to enhance it. And once you enhance a face, faces, they lose their originality. But airplanes, they don't. Even if they do lose their originality, we can't figure it out by naked eye. But what happens is that a lot of data skips. So this is really what I'm saying, that why we shouldn't compare. We shouldn't take these new high density authentic videos as authentic, because they are not. They are stitched frame by frame, just like cartoons Walt Disney did long ago. So that's the reason. Now, then what should we follow? What should we see? Can we take the original video from Singapore and then original video from Dubai? Because there are two videos available on YouTube, right? Can we compare them as well? Well, technically, no. Reason? Because the speed of the aircraft in Singapore was different from the speed of aircraft in Dubai. The weather is different in Singapore. The weather is different in Dubai. The weather in Singapore is more humid, a lot of water particles in the air. So once the aircraft is rolling, there's a huge contrail of smoke coming out of its back from the trailing edges of the wings. While in Dubai, it's mostly dry. So you won't get the same trailing smoke from the wings at all. Airplane, and the height of that airplane in Singapore was different above ground level. And the height of Dubai Airshow aircraft was different above ground level. From sea level, that was also different. Probably not that much of a difference, because Singapore is coastal and Dubai is coastal too. So probably that won't make any difference. But height above ground level was different. So we can't take into consideration, because of various different temperatures, we shouldn't compare even those two videos with each other. And I've done the comparison. Someone has done the comparison of both the videos, the high density one, which are stitched frame by frame, pictures stitched together and made out in kind of a final version of that one. Looks amazing, looks really good. But these aircrafts could not have been at the same speed, because airspeed works on the surrounding temperature. The indicated airspeed, probably on the on the speedometer, is being the ASI meter, is shown at 15 degrees. Is shown differently, and even the engine is at the same thrust, same level above ground level, and once the temperature of the surrounding is different, the ASI indicator would show a different speed. So it varies. So we cannot put, these two cannot roll at the same time. That's impossible. But all the experts are giving their opinion on the basis of those two videos. No. And same is the case. Even in real time, Singapore is in Singapore. Of course, Dubai is in Dubai. And conditions were different. The weather was different. The humidity was different. Speeds were different. So even we can't match them. I tried my level best to match their, whenever they initiated the term, that's where I matched it. And after that, it's all different. What we need to compare is have to take the videos in separate, in separate. We have to view them in separate, how this maneuver was done. So let's talk about Singapore first. what happened? So I also brought my airplane, people showing their models of the airplane. So I said, why should I stay back? So my airplane is this. Ta-da. By the way, this flies, okay? Don't think it doesn't fly. So you push the button. Hello. You have to assemble it. And pretty good. Like in one charge, you can go for 50 times release. And this can, because the wings are not symmetrical, so it has a bank towards one side sometimes. But doesn't matter. Really good for kids. I use that in my science class to teach them how to do aviation. So anyhow, this World War II aircraft. So now I'm going to use your point of view as you are watching the video. Now, what happened in Singapore? In Singapore, the plane came in a certain level. Okay, it made a bank towards the right. You could see it just like as in your camera. This is 90 degree with the ground. This is the ground, 90 degree. But for negative turn, it went almost 110 degrees. So not fully inverted, but almost inverted. 110, 100 to 110, not 90 degrees. Now, what the pilots always do, you can see Rafale videos and the British Typhoon, their video. Whenever they're in a negative turn, technically this plane, because the bank is made towards right, it should go this way, towards your side. But that's the beauty of this maneuver, that you pull the stick fully forward. Now, in normal conditions, once the stick is fully forward, the nose pitches down. But here you see it's inverted, almost inverted. So once you will give the front stick to make the nose go down on the horizon, the nose is actually going up. And that's how it makes a negative G turn. So see, certain level, dips in, off pressure, makes a turn, rolls in the same direction, goes away. Looks very easy, right? Now let's go. Put in the bank. There we go. The Singapore one kept the nose above the horizon. That's the horizon, imaginary line between the sky and the earth. And there's a reason for that. Visual flying is done with respect to the horizon. So if you get visibility in Dubai was clearer than visibility in Singapore. But then you can get roughly the idea of where the horizon would be. And that's the main thing. And your nose should be above the horizon, so you're seeing most part of the sky. Okay, you're seeing less of the earth. That's also one of the perspectives. So if you're seeing more ground, it means that your nose is not above the ground. Even if you can't see the sky, you can see the horizon. So you have to see more clear area than more grounded area. So his nose, when he put the turn in and he initiated the bank towards the opposite side, the turn towards the opposite side, the Singapore one, what he did right away, once he made about, I think he turned around 30 to 45 degrees into the turn. Once he did that, what he did, he still kept his nose up. Now watch this. His nose was all the way above the horizon. And now, how did he roll back? So first thing, he initiated the roll, continued the roll to the right, keeping the nose above the horizon. How is he going to do that? He's going to keep more and more front pressure, because once you're in a roll, the natural tendency of the aircraft is to go down, okay, and yaw towards one of the sides, adverse yaw. So for that, once you're rolling in, you have to give the same rudder to keep the nose on the horizon. And once you do that, now, once he rolled fully, see, nose is above the horizon, he rolled till this point. When his canopy was facing towards the sky, he gave the back pressure. and pulling about 2 Gs and made a better roll or an aileron roll right away. So this is what Singaporean guy did. In Dubai, what happened to him now? That's important to see as well. In previous video, I already mentioned that there are some things which your brain knows at what time and when you would perform them. I gave the example of aileron roll. Let me give you the example of steep turn even. Steep turn is about 60 degrees of turn on fighter jets. That's called a steep turn. And maximum rate turn or a G turn is about 80 to 89 degrees of bank. This would be like about 10 degrees. That's 20 degrees. Okay. Moving more further, so that's about 45 degrees. Okay, so that's a 60-degree turn. 60 degrees. And a max turn or a maximum G-rated turn would be not 90 degrees, because at 90 degrees there would be no lift around this one. You can't maintain the lift, so the aircraft falls. We use it for wing overs. Once we come up like this, right, and we give the full right aileron, and wing drops like this, and then we come up on the horizon. So this guy, so what I was saying, this steep turn, let's say steep turn to the right. So now what I'm gonna do is, I'm at 110 or 20 knots of speed. I'm talking about T-37, right? As soon as I bank to the, let's say, right side, now two things are gonna happen to this airplane. One, the airplane is gonna have the adverse yaw, and the nose would try to move upwards. Right? Bank is 60 degrees, it's gonna try to move this way. So for that, I have to give the rudder, the tail at the back, same side rudder, a little bit. So this yaw, this movement, yaw is this, roll is this, pitch is this. That's controlled. So now I give the same side rudder, and when you're in turn, the airflow is less over the wings, so your airspeed is gonna be less than whenever you initiated the turn. Once your airspeed is less, the aircraft nose tends to drop down. Now for that, now this is pitch down movement. You have to put positive G's, and you put on the stick to keep the nose on the horizon. So that's how you keep putting the G's in. Speed is going to be reducing and reducing. Nose is going to trying to go down, but you keep holding it. So you make a 360-degree turn, and a perfect 360-degree steep turn. Once you roll out, you get your own jet lag, your jet trash, whatever you call it, the exhaust coming out of your airplane. So that was the check. Whenever we used to make a steep turn, you could go up and down and up and down and up and down and make the steep turn, right? But you would not get your own jet lag, trash. So here, what happens, that if you have kept the nose on the horizon all the time, you complete a 360-degree turn, you will get into the previous exhaust you left. That's called a perfect steep turn. So rituals are the same. Okay? As soon as, so what's the step? Step 1, turn. Step 2, rudder in. Step 3, back pressure. So eyes closed, see? 1, 2, 3, done. Mechanical things, which I call them, there was a special word for that. Your brain checks, something that they say, which like we should remember them by heart, and these movements, they are always there. So Dubai one, he comes in, okay, he does the same thing. Now your point of view, you have seen the video just like this, right? And he also makes a 110-degree turn to the right. Aileron, right aileron is dipped down, left aileron moves up. And that's where he puts the front pressure to keep the nose above the horizon. He does that for almost, again, 25 to 30 degrees into a turn. Now, once he wants to roll over, now here there's a catch. Probably he thought he could see more ground, so he knew that he is not going to make it. So if you watch the video clearly, there was a dip towards his left. He tried to recover the same way, like this, and that would have saved him. But why did he go all the way again? Because, watch this, you're an audience. You turn this way, move, and you roll this way. Doesn't look good, not aesthetic. This is what the airshow people do, the acrobatic teams. They want to make it look more beautiful, and everyone loves that roll. See, if you ask anyone, any kid or anyone, what's your favorite maneuver to watch? Aileron roll, barrel roll, right? No one cares about loops. At least I didn't when I was watching, when I wasn't a pilot. So that's why, although he was in split mind condition, that should I roll back or continue my roll? And he decided to continue his roll. To continue his roll, like Singapore pilot, he had to give more forward pressure. But now if you see, he's coming in, certain levels, he turns in, applies negative G's, goes up. Once he wants to recover, for this much time, literally this much time, he did try to move left, but he came back in. Once he put the ailerons in, now he was in a roll, right? And he's inverted. Just now what I said, that in aviation, once you put yourself in a roll, what does the nose do? Nose tends to go down. And same is the case from the same situation. Once you want to go back to a certain level, the nose would automatically tend to go up. Why? Because this is aerodynamics. The flow of wind over the wings is much bigger. So once it gets more lift. Once it gets more lift, it goes back to the speed of the engine power. So because of the turn, the speed reduced, the engine power was the same. Now the turn is not there. We increase. So turn, nose down. Turn back, nose up. Put the same scenario. Once he was in inverted flight. Now here he has about 110 degrees of turn. So his nose, he's inverted. So once he dipped this way, now more wind is going through this aircraft. So it's going to increase the speed and the nose is going to go up. The nose is going to go up. In an inverted flight, once the nose is trying to go up, it's actually going towards the ground. Exactly that what happened. Then he turned, so once he rolled out, right, like this, he didn't fully roll out, but he was still below the horizon, so nose went down. And then he continued with the roll. So what happens? The nose is going down. And at this point, he was already below the horizon. He was not above the horizon. If this is the horizon, he was already below the horizon. Now his mind, because he's been doing this maneuver many times, the time duration, the mind clicked. Okay, now you have to put the front pressure, like get pull on the stick, like the Singaporean guy did. The Singaporean guy pulled the pressure over here, and he came out. This guy, once he came in, pulled, right? Oh, deflection. And then when he was here, he pulled the stick back. And once you ensure he's still rolling out. So he's pulling the stick back and rolling out. So what happened? He forgot the rudder, which I think presumably. And if you don't apply a rudder, now in aileron roll, what happens? Why he has to apply a rudder there? Why it became a barrel roll? Aileron roll is rotating wrong, this longitudinal axis. This is an aileron roll. and the nose should stay in the middle. That's in aileron roll. What's a barrel roll? So now the aircraft is going like this. It is a 360-degree turn, but it moves like this. Okay, that's a barrel roll. So you're in a barrel moving like this. Nose is moving like this. Aileron roll, the nose is right over here. Okay. Once you put the aileron roll in, aileron roll, this, the nose pointing at the same place all the time. So again, the aviation law, what is it? Once you turn the aircraft to the right, the aircraft will have a tendency to go towards left. Okay? And you keep rolling, keep rolling, keep rolling. It would become a barrel roll. How to cater that? You have to cater that adverse yaw. In a turn, the adverse yaw is this way. Okay? And the nose goes down. So we try to keep the nose up by putting a bit of back pressure and then putting the same side rudder. So once you put the aircraft in an aileron roll, you put the same side rudder and the nose rotates around it. What happens? We'll watch again. Okay. Put the aircraft in bank. Hold it up. Here he got deflected. Roll this way. Continue. The aircraft went down. No rudder. And so let me go from the top. And this happened. And he went into the ground. So what have we learned? That the difference between these two is, one, his nose was always above the center line. Above the horizon. In Dubai, he couldn't keep his nose above. Once he initiated the turn, he was okay. Once he initiated the turn, he was okay. Once he came up, he couldn't keep the nose above the horizon. And that's because he gave less of the forward pressure. And once he was rolling into the same direction, he didn't give the rudder. His roll was going smoothly. The roll has no problems. It went really smoothly. But the nose of the aircraft, because of no rudder input, made a circle, made a barrel, and probably he got a high-speed stall. That's why even the nose was up, the plane couldn't come out. There is a drag chute of people who have been using Martin Baking seats. They have confirmed that is a drag chute that came out. That could be automatic, or maybe the pilot tried to pull it out, but he couldn't make it. It was too late. Maybe the drag chute got burnt and the seat didn't. There are 14 rockets under the seat, so one of them did fire the drag chute. The Martin Baking seats, the chutes and the drag chutes are in the seat. So, and they're made of what? Like polyester, let's say, cloth. And what happens with that fire, you know that. So he couldn't come out. Now, why the Martin Baker seat doesn't confirm that on their website? Because they only post what saves lives. They don't post what didn't save the lives. So if the life is saved, they update it. And the last one is on November 14th. That was also PC-7, one of the Indian aircraft that ejected and the pilots were saved. So that was mentioned right away. But this one, Martin Baker is not gonna get themselves into trouble, or whatever you call it. So this is my 2 cents again. This is my final video on this incident until something new comes out. But I hope that in this video I've explained everything perfectly well, my point of view. So see you next time. Allah Hafiz.